So now we'll go players ranked too low. Okay, so let me scroll all the way down to where my guy is, Quinn Meinerz. Where's Quinn Meinerz? You got to keep scrolling for Quinn Meinerz. He's somewhere. Number 51. Okay, that was at least a baker's dozen scrolls with my old pointer finger on the scroll wheel. That's way too damn far. Okay, way too damn far for a guy who I think is one of the best in the world at what he does, Quinn Meinerz. That's why he's an all-pro. You've got a center and 2 tackles in the top 15. This is an all-pro guard. At the very least, he's in the top 20. For you to put him outside the top 25, top 30, top 40, did you forget him? Did they forget to submit his name for the exercise? Pete, Quinn Meinerz. Okay, he's standing at the top of a mile-high mountain with dreadlocks and pink skin and some really tasteful tattoos. How did you miss him? How'd you miss him, Pete? Too low, Quinn Meinerz.
Quinn Meinerz should be in the one-person Senior Bowl Hall of Fame for the way he handled himself that week in Mobile. Potbelly, dominating. I remember talking to Levi Owens-Enrique. He was a second-round pick of the Lions out of Washington. I said, "How was he surprised? Did he surprise you, Division II, Quinn Ewers? I think he was D2, right?
Yeah,
Minnesota
it was
somewhere.
Yeah, from the School of the Deaf and the Blind, and in Saskatchewan or something.
And Levi was like, he was so quick. I had no idea who he is. What? Like, why would you know who he was? He shows up and just starts dominating, and he has parlayed that into a new contract. He seems like he'd be, if you're going to have a beer 12 with someone, you want it to be Quinn Meinerz.
Yeah.
There are a lot of reasons to be a Quinn Meinerz fan. All right.
The thing that I love about Quinn Meinerz is his teammates love him. So my older brother, Chris, does the Green Light podcast, and he's had a number of the guys from the Broncos on, and he always ends up asking about Quinn Meinerz, and they just rave about this guy. Okay. And you can tell he's a guy that at Inside Run and all these periods, they hate his guts. And I'm talking about defensive players that are on Chris's pod. Chris is a defensive end. He doesn't want to talk to O-linemen. So he is the leader. He is the guy at the front of the line, the tip of the spear, and he plays like it. That offensive line is great. Okay, so I did Quinn Meinerz. So you got for too low
at 58. 58.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm channeling the old Colts coach. Playoffs. Amon-Ra St. Brown at 58. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, how disrespectful is that? So I'm looking at his numbers quickly here. He was second in the league in receptions with 115. Had 1,200 receiving yards. Had 12 touchdowns. And the best Pete can do is put him at 58. So I would be unhappy if I were Amon-Ra St. Brown, who also has everyone has a podcast. He has a podcast, which is fun to listen to.
The best. I think it's the best podcast out.
You know your brother has a podcast, right?
He's so deadpan. And he brings people on and he just asks some terrible things and they don't know how to respond. They always say, like, make it feel like the locker room. Dude, that feels like the locker room when you listen to those guys. So check out Amon-Ra St. Brown and EQ's podcast, the St. Brown Bros, maybe, or the St. Brown podcast.
Yeah, but hopefully he'll have something to say on that. By the way, I saw a quick YouTube shorts of some guy named Kyle Long playing golf with Jimmy Haslam, and not knowing who Jimmy Haslam was as he was crap talking the Browns. That's fantastic.
It was a classic blunder. Classic blunder by your
Jimmy
boy.
knew.
It was like a The Office episode or Curb Your Enthusiasm. I was like, ugh.
Jimmy knew. He knew. In his heart, he knew.
Okay, so Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm in agreement with you. In addition to him having a great podcast, he is one of my favorite players, and I've tweeted this out. He may be my favorite player in the National Football League, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is the quintessential badass receiver, can do everything, willing to do the dirty work, talk a little bit of shit, get the guys fired up. But he is such a football guy. Like, you can just tell that he does the little things the right way. And he's
how much
knows where to line up, all that stuff. What you got, Ryan?
How much is an offensive lineman, if you guys are like rewatching the game on Tuesday, whenever you watch tape there, how much do you love a wide receiver who blocks?
There's like no easier way to earn respect and to get pelts on the wall in the offensive meeting room where the whole offense is in there than blocking people downfield, giving that extra effort. And in the Lions offense, they're asked to do some dirty work there at the line of scrimmage. Like, you go watch the Rams, for example, a guy like Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, they're essentially playing tight end hybrid. They're over there bashing defensive ends, the linebackers. It takes a toll on you. And for you to keep showing up like that, that's how you earn respect, man. So
do you ever hear defensive ends getting tired of getting ear hold? Are they talking,
dude? They bitch so much. Defensive ends complain so much. And then they call you soft if somebody other than you hits them. And it's like, you don't think I'm going to use schematics to my advantage? You think I'm just going to just get, you're a superior athlete. You're making $38 million, dude. Just shut up and play.
I love it.
Okay. Players ranked too low. A guy that does shut up and just play.
Yep.
A guy that just wins. A guy that probably should have 2 Super Bowls right now. Jalen Hurts. Okay. I have been the guy on these, Monday morning quarterback shows that said Jalen Hurts doesn't have the juice, but he does. Okay. And what tells me that is that the guy continues to find himself. And obviously they got a great roster. And Sirianni's a great coach. But what came first, the chicken or the egg? I mean, you've got Jalen Hurts. You've got an offensive line. You've had some questions on the defensive side of the ball. That's why Vic Fangio's there to solve it, and they did it last year. But Jalen Hurts is the engine that keeps this thing going. They run the tush-push because of Jalen Hurts, not because they got an all-world center, okay? You've got a quarterback who can do essentially everything when he's on. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. You've got great targets to be able to utilize his skill set down the field. A.J. Brown was fantastic. When those two are on, it's as fun to watch as anything. So 52, Jalen Hurts, let's show our guy some respect. He's a Super Bowl champ now, almost 2 times, but 1 time for sure.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you're like, oh, anyone can do it, I would like to introduce you to Kenny Pickett, who was in there. Former Steelers. As a Steelers fan, I've had enough of Kenny Pickett, and I knew what that was going to look like. Kenny got a Super Bowl ring, but what are you going to
Super Bowl champion Kenny? Super
Bowl champion Kenny Pickett. So I have to introduce him from now on. My guy's a little controversial. Jalen Hurts, I believe everyone should be able to get on board with that at 52. 3 picks higher is Justin Herbert, who I mentioned earlier, at 49. And look, man, like in a perfect world, Justin would be a little further along in terms of the wins he's gotten in January. And we can make all the excuses we want about why that hasn't happened, whether it was coaching or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's on him because he's the face of the franchise. But then you see Justin Herbert, you see the way he carries himself, you see the way his teammates respond to him, and you see like the things he can do physically, and you're like, I feel like he should be a little higher. I don't know if he should be a lot higher. Am I putting him ahead of Jaden Daniels at 33? I don't think so. But maybe 10 spots higher, I would push. But I need to see more. Like this is an argument you're making when you're in the courtroom, and you sort of know your client committed the crime, but you're trying to tiptoe around it as you try to get him a lesser sentence. So again, I'm not a great lawyer, but Justin Herbert, the promise of Justin Herbert is getting there. It's not quite there yet, but I think he's higher than 49.
So if you look back to 2020 and Justin Herbert's rookie year, he threw for 4,300 yards. His second year, he threw for 5,000 yards. His third year, he threw for 4,700. His fourth year, he threw for 3,100. And then last year, he threw for 3,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And you know what? I was watching back the Bengals-Chargers game, primetime from a couple weeks ago. I was watching the Bengals-Chargers play last year when T. Higgins came back and went off. McPherson missed a bunch of field goals. Justin Herbert is so gifted, so talented. If people don't think that he's getting better, just go look at the ratio, touchdown to interception. Harbaugh was obviously a big part of that. Mark Trestman brought into the building. This guy unlocked a lot of things last year. If you really go watch him play, the way that he was able to run the football was impressive. Obviously, his ability to throw the football is impressive. Taking care of the ball, great. When they continue to add weapons to that offense, his numbers are going to be ridiculous. And I was talking about, you get on this list because you build it up over years. The guy's been building it up over the last 5 years. You can't argue that. The numbers are right there. And he got better last year. To your point, he deserves to be higher. I mean, Justin Herbert is a special player. He's a special player and an Oregon Duck and a great guy. I root for good guys.